So my name is Taranj Kansari. I'll be chairing this session. Maybe just a tiny little introduction to me before I introduce our speakers. Currently, I'm a Diploma Unit 2 tutor here at the AA, co-director of the Research Centre for Applied Research in Empowering Society at London Met, and founding director of Public Works. And I suppose my research is very much embedded into this new idea of the commons as community power and citizen power, and how we can use the city as a way to restructure certain systemic political problems that we might have in around what Fukuyama calls recession of democracy since the 1990s. So I think that's all I will say about me, and really focus on our esteemed speakers. So I'm honored to be here also. Thank you so much for the invitation, and to the program team, manager, Golnar, and everyone on the team. And we're going to start with Akram Abu Hamdan. And I will just do a small introduction. Akram has had a diverse career in architecture and development. He graduated from the AA in 1979. His early professional years were spent in housing research at the Royal Scientific Society in Amman, and as design tutor and lecturer at University of Jordan. In private practice, he led teams of architects and artists on award-winning projects, and was responsible for the design and presentation of the Jordan pavilions to the Hanover Expo 2000 in Germany, and Aichi Expo in 2005 in Japan. Between 2001 and 2010, in public service, Akram steered Jordan's drive in urban regeneration and chaired the Urban Workshop, a non-profit research centre. He was responsible for initiating several large-scale projects, such as Abdali, new downtown of Amman, Queen Alia International Airport, the Living Wall, and the Jordan Valley Master Plan. He also chaired the Luxembourg-based Mawarad International, which was involved in various mixed-use projects in Morocco and Slovenia. So Akram served on the Amman City Council and a member of the steering committee of Aga Khan Award for Architecture. So without further ado, I hand over.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you to the AA Public Program, and to manager, to yourself, and also to Golnar for arranging all this. I think I've messed around with this. It needs to be full screen somehow.
Can we?
Can you just make it full screen again? Because I...
Oh, that's Merton. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. We can make it full screen, yeah?
Yeah. So it's full screen up there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right, well, my presentation today is quite spontaneous, so I'm not really an academic at this point, and I just wanted to share with you certain ideas and some of the work that's been taking place in the Middle East in general and in North Africa. I'm not going to be talking about my own work. I've just tried to sort of rise to the occasion of the theme and the spirit of the event. So I think if the MENA region is looking to a future beyond Eurocentrism, we would do well to prepare ourselves for the transition. Due to obvious long-term dependency on prevalent theories and technologies as furnished globally by the development of architecture in the West, and apart from individual efforts, there has not really been a cohesive drive amongst the anchors of the MENA to seek some form of a common contemporary architectural parallel or a language that would fill the gap and help steer away from Eurocentric practices. Also, there does not appear to be the will for any form of dialogue between artisan cultures that grew out of agrarian communities and cultures of nomadic origins in the MENA region. Also, the question remains if there is a need in this day and age to recognize commonalities within the MENA itself. The faster growing cities in the MENA, and here I'm not talking about ancient cities like Cairo, Tehran, or Istanbul, but the faster growing cities such as Riyadh, Dubai, and Doha, which recently have appeared as being fields of experiments for the iconic trade. You know, there are sort of, everyone's competing for icons, informing sort of this the spirit of each city, or basically branding the cities with icons. The architectural landscapes of these cities is often dominated by their skylines. Because there's a sort of a certain love for towers, then the skyline of the city becomes the identity of the city somehow, or it radiates that identity to the world. So if we were to look at some selected examples, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this is Dubai, as you might have recognized it. I'm not going to sort of go into every detail about that or who designed it, but we'll talk about that a bit later. But you know, here you're looking at Burj Khalifa, and sort of, you know, perhaps now the tallest tower in the world until the Jeddah tower is finished, and that's taking forever. Then you've got Burj Al Arab, and you know, there's all these projects, the Frame, Marina Towers, the Atlantis, the Dubai Opera House, and the Museum of the Future. They all sort of sprung up in the last 20, 25 years. And in the last 25 years, when you think about that, you think of who the architects had been in the region and who had actually come from outside the region to do work in the region. And that's quite interesting because there are stakeholders to every project. And it seems to be like the corporations that are in charge of such projects, they belong more to the culture of importation than to the culture of sort of homegrown creativity. This is Dubai. Then we have Riyadh. Of course, we've got the Kingdom Tower, the Faisaliya Tower, the PIF, Burj Rafal, and the Majdoul, which is the pleated or the twisted. And I'm sort of trying to arrive at something here. And then we come to Qatar, and we see the Al Doha Tower, John Nouvel, and Lusail, the Tornado Tower, the Qatar Towers, and then we look at IMP's Museum of Islamic Art and Rem Koolhaas's or OMA's Qatar National Library. Now, what all these sort of basically three slides or these examples have in common is that none of them have actually been designed by anyone related to the MENA region. None of them. They've all been commissions, awarded. Sometimes people come through recommendations by major huge contractors in the world who come, basically whatever the way it is, the stakeholders that are actually involved in these projects, whether they are investment arms of the governments of these cities, or whether they are private corporations with personal interest of some of the political figures in the city. So that's what tends to happen. And we've got to say it, politics does actually play a major role in architecture, particularly where there is wealth and where there is money. So we can't just say, sort of just be nice about it and say it's not true, but it is true. Everyone involved in politics is involved in these major projects, and particularly as some of them will cost, quite a few billion. Then we come to a paradox. You find that the system that has actually promoted the line is the same system that has built Abraj al-Bayt within a sort of time frame of 15 years. You see there on the right, Abraj al-Bayt, and I want to go back a little bit to Eurocentrism because often we're probably under the misconception that if you go to homegrown architects, you get a better job. No, you don't. Because this is, the one on the right is being designed by an Arab architectural firm, a major Arab architectural firm. I mean, the firm owns certain other firms in the US, in Chicago and other places. But this particular firm has built this development of 7 towers and this clock tower, which is 600 meters high, with all the cornices and everything that's associated with it. And now the holiest shrine of Islam sits against the backdrop of the Fairmont Swiss Hotel, what's the other one? Pullman, and the Movenpick, and Raffles. These are the hotels that are actually standing there behind the Haram. And these hotels form the backdrop to Islam's holiest shrine, basically. And this is, as I said, the work of a MENA architect or a MENA office. To the right, we find a bouquet of amazing architects. Some have been at the AA, some have, some of the major figures in the world in architecture are involved in the one on the left, in the line. Discovery Channel did a 45-minute presentation about the project, promoting it, and talked to a lot of these architects. What is interesting is that the line is 170 kilometers long and 500 meters high. So when you think about 500 meters high, it is really very high. And nobody talks about Alan Boutwell and Michael Mitchell's on the right in 1969, who proposed the comprehensive city. See where that, and you can see that's basically just copied from, one's copied from the other. And no one talks about the other one. And in the 45-minute Discovery Channel, none of the architects actually mentioned this, or where the inspiration had come from, The difference between the two, in my view, I mean, they're both heroic. I mean, if I were given a chance to get involved in this, I would. It's not that I wouldn't, but because it is a very heroic project and a very attractive project for any architect to get involved in. But you really need to sort of think about other stuff. To build something like this now, which is being built at the moment, the carbon footprint of the cement alone and the steel alone to build a project like this is immense, really. The difference between the two, when we look at the two, the one on the right, also, a heroic project connecting the East Coast to the West Coast, basically the Atlantic to the Pacific. It connects one point to another point. The one on the left connects nowhere to nowhere. It starts from a point on the Gulf of Aqaba, nothing of fantastic significance, and then it goes to nowhere in the middle of the desert. And it's not like there's a city, it's connecting two cities or anything. I mean, I'm trying to be critical, not because of the project itself, but of the approach in this. So then nobody talks about Super Studio's continuous monument, which is basically, you can see the line is on the left, and it's that sort of protrusion into the water. And the one in the middle is the continuous monument, and the one on the right also. So basically, again, no one mentioned in this 45-minute Discovery Channel by all these great architects, no one mentioned Super Studio in any way of inspiration or influencing their ideas. Another thing that we need to talk about, I think, because what has happened in the past in the Middle East, in particular, and in North Africa, is that people who think of any form of vernacular, or at least being inspired by the vernacular into doing something contemporary, then they would think mostly of vocabulary. They wouldn't really be thinking of so much of the spatial quality, developing an indigenous sort of type of space into different forms and different uses and what have you. So it remains within an artisan sort of like embroidery type approach. And this is the work, this is very good work, because it is good work of Rasim Badran, who got the Akram Prize for his Qasr al-Hukum in Riyadh. And the one on top is Al Diriyah Governorate in Riyadh. So and that's a different approach. This is a homegrown sort of creative approach by local architects. Well, Rasim is not. Rasim is a Palestinian, but his father was one of the basically national artisan figure of Palestine, because he actually did so much. Jamal Badran, very, very well-known artisan. And Rasim has that sort of artisan type approach to architecture. Although he studied in Darmstadt in Germany, and his graduation project was a mobile theater. So basically, going back to Eurocentrism again, the education here, he did study in Germany. He was exposed to what modern architecture was all about. It all started in Germany anyway, and then he went back and he sort of like looked into the vernacular and tried to do something. But still, it's better than a lot of the stuff being produced at the moment. So I just wanted to sort of like share with you, what's been happening on the ground. And so under certain sort of like frustrations with, where do we go from here? Are we, if we are going to sort of like move into a better world?
Thank you so much. Thank you.